Twilight Mania. You had to be there. From 2008 to 2012, 5 films in 5 years, the Twilight movies took the world by storm. Adaptations of Stephenie Meyer's 4-book series, starting with Twilight in 2008, leading into New Moon and Eclipse. And if you thought they were only going to make one Breaking Dawn movie, think again. They turned that into a 2-movie, 2-year event. And let me tell you, these movies made money. They made tons and tons of moolah, and they gave huge bumps in the careers of the 2 stars, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. Throughout the run of those 5 movies, they were appearing in lots of things outside the Twilight universe. And since Breaking Dawn Part 2, they have been a part of so many wonderful films by auteur directors, small movies, big movies. Today, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are having some wonderful film careers. Stewart, of course, got her first Oscar nomination for Spencer and has truly gone out of her way to appear in some really interesting films throughout the last 10 years. Robert Pattinson has worked on movies both big and small. He worked with Christopher Nolan on Tenet. He worked with Matt Reeves on The Batman, and then look at Good Time and The Lighthouse. The list goes on and on. Sure, his latest film, Mickey 17, from director Bong Joon-ho, didn't exactly set the box office on fire, but Pattinson is doing great work, as is Stewart. But what about the third lead of the Twilight phenomenon? What about Taylor Lautner? What's he doing right now? Not much, right? Not much. Taylor Lautner. I mean, he was as popular in that Twilight series at the time as Stewart and Pattinson, so why is he not a movie star? What happened to his career? He has been in things here and there on the big screen and the small screen, but it's kind of quiet right now for Taylor Lautner, and what I think killed his career pretty quickly, I would say. It was one film, one movie that came out right before the 2 Breaking Dawn films in 2011 and 2012. There was an attempt to make Taylor Lautner a movie star, an action hero, the lead of a movie, and it didn't quite work out so well. That film is the Razzie-nominated 2011 action film Abduction, starring Taylor Lautner and Lily Collins, and a boatload of major stars in supporting roles. This was Lautner's do-or-die moment. Could he be a star outside of the Twilight franchise? And sadly, the answer was an efficient no. Abduction, directed by John Singleton, is the first film I am examining in my new series, Movie Fiasco. Films that underperformed at the box office, maybe were box office disasters, did not come up to expectations for critics and audiences. So let's break it all down. Why did Abduction fail, and why did it kill Taylor Lautner's movie career? So at first, things were looking up for this project. There was a lot of excitement around the screenplay. Lionsgate Films bought Sean Christensen's spec script for $1 million in a bidding war with many other studios, and Abduction was immediately looked at as a star vehicle for Taylor Lautner, something they could squeeze in before he went to shoot the final 2 Twilight movies, Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2. On a budget of about $35 million, the film began shooting in July of 2010, wrapping in September of 2010. I mean, this was the height of Twilight mania, in between Eclipse, which came out in the summer of 2010, and then the 2 Breaking Dawn films, which came out in 2011, 2012. If there was ever a time for Taylor Lautner to strike while the iron was hot, it was around 2010. This was the height of his popularity, and it seemed like he had enough of a fan base. They were going to follow him anywhere. Were they going to follow him to Abduction? Maybe if the movie was better, right? Because, oh my frickin' god, is this film a total train wreck. Taylor Lautner plays Nathan Harper, an 18-year-old high school senior who's just one of the guys, right? He's messing around with his friends, he's at parties, getting drunk, waking up on the front lawn, shirtless, of course. Taylor Lautner had to be shirtless in Abduction. I mean, the moment that lit up millions of hearts in New Moon, of course, is this scene.
Well, it's just blood, Bella. No big deal.
So, they were gonna take his shirt off in Abduction, they do it very early. He's a fairly normal teenager. He has these nightmares that he talks to his therapist about, played by Sigourney Weaver, who is cashing a check for Abduction. He has a good relationship with his parents. I mean, a little strained, I would say. Jason Isaacs and Maria Bello, who look nothing like Taylor Lautner, and if you're wondering why that is, the movie eventually spells it out for you. For a school project, he is teamed with Karen, played by Lily Collins, this girl he's always had a crush on. She likes him, but they just never find the right timing, and, we're supposed to care about their chemistry and them getting together in this movie, and boy, that doesn't work at all. For this school research project on missing children, Nathan performs age progression technology on a photo of a missing child who kind of looks like him, and the older version very much resembles Taylor Lautner. Oh boy, was he abducted? Was he abducted when he was a kid? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. But yeah, Nathan learns that his parents aren't really his parents. Basically, these two people have been keeping him safe for many years from the bad guys. But through Nathan's investigation and being online and asking questions, they find where he is, and his parents are immediately disposed of. Karen, for whatever reason, gets involved in the turmoil, and there is a moment where Nathan and Karen are informed that there is a bomb about to go off in the oven. They go look to double check that, yes, there is a bomb in the oven that's literally counting down 7, 6, 5. They look at each other. Oh shit, we should probably get out of the house. And right when they touch the backyard, the house blows up real good, sending them into the swimming pool. If this is not the dumbest scene in any movie released in 2011, it's gotta be in the top 3, right? And from then on, the chase begins. The running begins. The rest of the movie is an occasional action set piece. There's 3 of them, none of which are very effective. They don't really do anything you haven't seen before. In between those action moments, we spend lots of time with Nathan and Karen talking about their woes and finding out they really like each other. The second silliest scene in the movie is their makeout moment on a train, which is shot and edited and scored like it's a really hot, passionate love scene in a movie. And it's so awkward to watch these two 18-year-olds doing this in a moment where they are on the run for their lives. It doesn't really gel with the narrative, especially at this point in the movie. And so you're just eyes wide what the hell am I watching right now? I know Taylor Lautner and Lily Collins went on to date for a few months after they made this movie, so they were clearly enjoying the moments, but I don't think especially Lautner in that scene is supposed to be all smiley and oh yeah, this is great. Your parents just died right in front of you. You have people on your tail trying to kill you. It doesn't make sense. The movie is filled to the brim with wonderful actors in supporting roles doing their best with awful dialogue, like Sigourney Weaver, who pops up in the movie here and there. Most of the time we see her, especially at the end, I would say, it's as if she just wandered into the movie from out of nowhere. I mean, I really do hope 3-time Academy Award nominee Sigourney Weaver was paid well for Abduction. Alfred Molina plays a pretty substantial role in this. He's on the trail of Nathan and Karen, but he wants to help them. And in one scene after another, he is spilling some of the most ridiculous dialogue you have ever heard in a movie, playing it totally straight as if we're supposed to believe all of this is really happening. I mean, it's so absurd. By the time we get to the big finale at a baseball stadium, you're waiting for at least some exciting action, maybe some tension in those final moments. and you don't get any. The main villain, played by Michael Nyqvist, who was the star of the Swedish adaptations of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy, is really weak in this. He's never that threatening. He doesn't seem like he's ever going to do what he says he's going to do. It all ends in a big chase across the stadium leading to the parking lots, Nathan injuring himself along the way and like shuffling. Like by the end of the movie, he's not really running, being heroic. He's just moving pretty slow. And then at the very end, Nathan does not save the day. He doesn't have his moment of being a hero. His unseen biological father with a sniper rifle kills the bad guy, saving his son's life. They have a conversation on the phone. The father departs. And the last scene of Abduction is Nathan and Karen sitting in the empty baseball stadium saying things like, "Gotta admit, it was a pretty exciting first date." Ugh, oh my god. And then the movie ends, it's over, and you are scratching your head. You are like, who thought this was a good idea? Why was this screenplay purchased in a bidding war for $1 million? Why did Taylor Lautner sign on to this project? Well, even though this movie sucks, it's really bad, I could see in those early days of development and things, Taylor Lautner is like, I should try to do something outside of Twilight. Let's do an action film, something fun. The Abduction screenplay was obviously very popular among the studios. John Singleton signed on to direct, the great Oscar-nominated director John Singleton, who made Boys in the Hood, who made Too Fast, Too Furious, you know, a big action film that had come out a few years prior. And then you have actors signing on like Sigourney Weaver and Alfred Molina and Jason Isaacs and Maria Bello. Even Dermot Mulroney is a brief part of the ends. So on paper, it kind of makes sense. This could have been something good or great, but the execution just isn't there from minute one. There's no tension, no excitement throughout the movie. Everything feels familiar and stale and obvious. None of the characters rings true. The love story really doesn't ring true. I mean, I understand why it's there. We want to get the teen girls in the theater, and if they think it's just an action movie, if it's too macho, maybe they weren't going to show up. So let's have Lily Collins playing the love interest. We'll have a scene of them making out on a train, but it just doesn't work at all. They don't have chemistry in the film. And I know they're supposed to be high school seniors, and that's an element to the plot, but pretty much everything that happens in Abduction past the 25-minute point, it feels like these two characters should be at least 10 years older. It just feels weird to see like a teen version of The Bourne Identity. It's like if Matt Damon had made The Bourne Identity around his days of Mystic Pizza.
Mom, do you want my green stuff?
It makes no sense. None of it works. By the time it's over, you are relieved. And sadly, it has to be said, the number one reason Abduction fails as hard as it does is that wooden central performance by Taylor Lautner. He is so stiff from scene to scene. He can't emote, really. Every line reading feels false and like he didn't put much thought into the character, how to deliver his dialogue. When he should be scared for his life, he just doesn't look like he's that concerned about it. And by the end, he's just given us nothing with this character, with this performance. He's perfectly fine sometimes in the Twilight movies. As part of an ensemble, Taylor Lautner can be okay. In a comedy film, in a world of fantasy, he can kind of fit in. But in what's supposed to be a serious action film where he is the lead, it just doesn't work. And I am not convinced. If Abduction had been a better movie, a better story, everything else was working okay, I still think Taylor Lautner would have brought the movie down. The acting chops just aren't there, and so yeah, sadly, Abduction was the movie that killed Taylor Lautner's career. It showed he couldn't hold a movie completely on his shoulders. It showed he was lacking in the acting department. And the fact that the movie was as terrible as it was didn't help. I mean, pretty much everybody hated Abduction when it finally opened in September of 2011. It currently holds a 5% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So someone likes it, I guess. The movie opened at number 4 at the weekend box office, making $10 million. It ultimately earned about $28 million domestically and $54 million internationally for a total of $82 million. So not an all-out disaster, I would say. I mean, that's not terrible, $82 million with a $35 million budget, but I mean, with marketing and everything, I bet they barely broke even. Maybe Lionsgate still lost a little bit of money on Abduction. Like, they were expecting that one to do better. Especially with Breaking Dawn Part 1 just a few weeks away, Twilight Mania in full force, Taylor Lautner, the star of his own movie? Like, you'd think that could have made $150 million, $250 million. If it had just been better, if people had liked that movie more, maybe he could have had another chance at being a leading man. But it didn't really happen, especially after the Twilight films ended in 2012. For his performance in Abduction, Taylor Lautner was nominated for a Razzie Award for Worst Actor. Also for his performance in the Twilight saga Breaking Dawn Part 1, he lost to Adam Sandler, who won Worst Actor for Jack and Jill and Just Go With It. He did win something positive for Abduction, a Teen Choice Award for Choice Action Actor, so there was that, I guess. After Breaking Dawn Part 2, Taylor Lautner showed up briefly in Grown Ups 2, uncredited as frat boy Andy. He also reunited with Adam Sandler for the Netflix comedy The Ridiculous Six in 2015. Also in 2015, there was a direct-to-video movie starring Taylor Lautner, another action film called Tracers. I guess he didn't learn his lesson from Abduction because he tried action again, and the poster for Tracers is even similar to the poster for Abduction. That movie didn't go anywhere, neither did his 2016 drama Run the Tide. He showed up for a few episodes of Scream Queens, and then as of this recording, the only movie he has done in the 2020s is something called Home Team from 2022, an ensemble drama that quietly dropped on Netflix. So yeah, the careers of Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are still going very strong, but Taylor Lautner, not so much. He needed to prove he could carry a film on his own outside of the Twilight franchise. Abduction was supposed to be the film that could do it, and it wasn't like a box office disaster, but the movie it did not perform up to expectations. And sadly, that was really the beginning of the end to Taylor Lautner's career. I mean, maybe he'll have a comeback in the next few years. Maybe he'll show up in something really good. Like maybe he'll give us a comedic performance, something unexpected that shows Taylor Lautner in a new light. But I don't know. Right now, I'm not seeing it. I do think Abduction was just too big of a movie fiasco.